right, let's go through the patch notes. The last patch set a really nice precedent. I think the last patch was kind of perfect. It didn't really do a single change that I was really questioning. I thought it was all really good and very subtle. This one, I imagine, will be less subtle, but we'll see. I don't think there's anything particularly interesting. I didn't see anything about input delay decreases on PS4 or whatnot. Mostly just quality of life thing. The biggest thing in here is just that it's reducing the network connection time login. Oh, I hope it's significant. Considering I can't imagine it could be anything but significant, considering it takes like 5 minutes to log in. Let's see. I don't see anything particularly wonderful in here. There's basic bug, quality of life things. Character balance and bug. Universal mechanics. I'm very interested in this. Alrighty, son. Well, let's see. Overall changes. Revise the overall functions projectile. Some projectile special moves now have less recovery, making them easier to use in neutral. So that's probably Kai there. You buff his fireball too much, it'll actually be kind of ridiculous. So we'll see. Projectile special moves. I wonder if they buffed his air fireballs. I thought his air fireballs were fine. Let's see. In accordance with this buff, also increase benefit from landing aerial attacks. Many characters can now deal more damage than before on counter hit, as if they couldn't already, but I get it. Air to airs didn't yield a lot of damage unless you were playing like Ramathal or something, or Soul. So I imagine it's probably just more evened out throughout the cast. Everyone now gets big conversions off of air hits, I suppose. By increased numbers, it can be canceled in air dash. It's now easier to launch an offensive after the opponent blocks your aerial attack. After they block your aerial attack? It is now easier to launch an offensive when the opponent who blocks your aerial attack. Huh. Does that mean most jump normals are going to be air cancelable? Air dash cancelable? Aren't they all to a certain extent? I guess they aren't all. No. That's fine. And more air dashes or jump cancels is more than welcome. Anti-air attacks have also been buffed, in particular increasing the reward gain from a counter hit 6p, making it easier, including special moves. Kind of curious how that's going to transpire. Are we going to be able to reverse beat? Are they going to do this weird, arbitrary counter hit state where they just kind of pop up in the air? Because that's kind of lame. I don't want it to be arbitrary. I want it to look like it makes sense. But more anti-air damage is good. It's funny, this is actually kind of more air-to-air. Basically, yeah, they're just punishing people for jumping, which is funny, because kind of like Street Fighter 5, I actually consider Guilty Gear Strive to be a game where jumping is both really strong and really weak. I feel like you can very easily explode from jumping too much, but at the same time, I feel like you have to be able to jump in this game, because navigating neutral can be a nightmare against some matchups. So, let's see. Let's see what it looks like when it's in the game. Move the disparity. I think moving the disparity is probably what they're talking about. Because Kai already gets some conversions, is who I play. Like Giovanna comes to mind as a character who doesn't get much off of her 6p. It depends on the range. Anyways, gotta move through this faster, huh? Right, the start of the fastest normals. They mentioned this. I'm curious to what this entails. I assume they're going to make slower moves faster and not... They might nerf Souls 5k, but I doubt it. The general makes the characters encounter throws on wake up as a general rule. I'm surprised it didn't just increase throw and vol. I was really kind of expecting them to increase throw and vol. This change is, again, makes characters a lot more homogenous, which I'm not a fan of, so I actually don't like this change. I would have preferred more throw and vol, because throw and vol in this game basically doesn't exist. Let's see. Input buffer, increase the time window. Input buffer. Oh, man. Man, I don't like that. I like small reversal windows. I like it when doing a reversal is a skillful thing that requires some level of timing, some level of composure. But I get that your average player probably doesn't like that. I prefer it. But, you know, it's fine. It's fairly lenient anyway. Startup for mix-up moves. We think overheads in this game is falling in two categories. Overheads that are difficult to react to, for example, standard dust, and overhead attacks that are easily reacted to unless taken by surprise, for example, fully charged dust. We've revised the startup frames for moves that fall in between these categories, which are various levels of difficult to react to depending on the player and the environment. I'm actually not sure what that entails. I'm trying to think of... There's not a lot of overheads in the game. Like, period. Like, Zato has one. Huh. I'm curious to know what that looks like. Throws. You're extending the time window for throw clashes, which previously only worked when it put almost the exact same time as the opponent's throw. I think it was 5 frames? I assume they probably just increased it by a frame. It's probably like 6, maybe 7. 7 is, I think, pretty standard for throw tech windows. It is not possible to roam and cancel at any point during the animation of throws, excluding overdrives? Oh, at any point. Oh, on hit. That's kind of weird. People with multi-hitting throws. I guess you could do that with Jam. I mean, that's where her FRC used to be, so I can see why they would do that. I guess it doesn't really matter that much, though. Just might change certain combo opportunities. I don't know. It is possible to roam and cancel after an unsuccessful throw to cover up the roof recovery. It's still possible to do that. I don't. Why does it say it's possible? It was always possible. This change makes it possible to spend meter to roam and cancel after a successful throw as well. Oh, this is to stop the OS. Oh, okay, I get you. So this is to stop the OS, I would assume. What's that going to look like in the game? Are you going to do like one frame into the throw and just RC it? That's going to look weird. But I get, yeah, this is to stop the OS, I think. Which I was kind of a fan and also not a fan of the OS. I thought it was stupidly strong. Once you had 50% meter, you could just throw whenever you wanted. And if they jumped, you got to punish. If they backdashed, you got to punish. Well, you didn't get a punish if they jumped, but you got a really strong mix-up. I get why they did this, so that's fine. You can still react to a whiffed throw, which is what I've mostly been doing, so this doesn't affect me at all. I wasn't really using the OS very often. I just thought it was really annoying. You can still react, which is what you should be doing in the first place, I think. So, not that I'm against option selects. I think option select should exist, but this, I get it. But I don't think this is going to be that game-changing. You can still react. Base damage scaling of special moves. Although this varies between character, we have increased base damage scaling on strong special offensive moves and combo starter moves. So basically, Souls DP. Faultless Defense. Previously, Faultless Defense had somewhat longer block stun than standard block. No, wait! However, it was not rewarding enough overall to spend tension gauge on. The block stun has been changed. No! No! Oh, God. Oh, I hate that. Oh, I hate it. Blech. Oh, I hate it. I'll be the first person to tell you, I think variable frame data is required in an anime fighter. Now, granted, Guilty Gear Strive's offensive and defensive game plan is a lot more analogous to Street Fighter than it is to Guilty Gear. So, this isn't world-breaking. There wasn't a lot of situations where those plus frames... Because most moves are negative anyway, so you're going from -2 to like 0 more often than not. So this isn't huge, but it still irritates me because I love variable frame data. I think it was really... It's something I missed, and now it's completely gone. Unfortunate. Let's see. For certain moves that don't cause significant knockback on block, Faultless Defense wouldn't open up between the distance. There is now a minimum amount of distance that will be created when using Faultless. Combined with the changes made to Guard Crush moves, there is now a greater merit to using Faultless against any move. Oh, interesting. So, yeah. Increased time for throws. No longer throw clash opponent by pressing a button other than D. No longer causes throw clash if the opponent is pressing a button other than D. No more OSs, I see. Aroma cancel cannot be performed after a successful throw, even during animation. Alter the damage distribution of aroma cancel activation for some throw moves. That's probably for Naito Yuki. A successful air throw no longer increases the wall break value. Can you just show the wall break HP on screen? Please? Counters fixed above with certain conditions of time where the character hit a counterattack during slowdown would be later than intended. Increase the length of slowdown time, causing a counter at land slowdown, blah blah blah. Remove slowdown adjustments caused by red and purple RCs. It is now possible to aroma cancel during a jump animation. It is now possible to aroma cancel during a jump animation. Could you not? Red aroma cancel will no longer activate during movement, such as... Red aroma cancel will no longer activate during movement, such as dash or backdash. Oh, you can't RC dashes or backdashes? Is this to stop the blue RC stuff? No, this is said red Roman cancel. Will no longer activate during movements such as dash and backdash. How would you get a backdash red RC? I guess Giovanna could do that, but it would usually just be a blue RC, right? If you're dashing, and this doesn't operate on like Xr's logic where the opponent's state is what determines it. It's your own state, usually. Okay, this confuses me. I'll have to see what they're talking about in person. Maybe it's improperly read. I don't know. Override no longer negate slowdown and activation. Thank you. I've had multiple drop combos as a result of that. Activating Roman cancel during an overdrive now causes slowdown. Okay. Homing jump. It is no longer possible to activate Roman cancel during the dust attack follow-up. After you launch them? It is no longer possible to activate during the dust attack follow-up. Is this for people who are like mashing and got a Roman cancel when they're just hitting up? Or can you just not Roman cancel during like the jumping thing? If so, that's really weird. I assume this is just for people who are mashing. Let's see. Fixed above with all the blah 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 blah. Psych burst expanded the hitbox. It is admittedly very hard to burst certain things, so I think I might be a fan of this. Burst baiting in this game is weird. It's both. There are so many moves where you just, unless you have 50% meter, you can just burst there for free because there's not a lot of jump cancels. So you can just kind of do it whenever, and that kind of sucks. But then there's characters like Mei who you legitimately can't burst, so it's kind of frustrating. And Mei, Axel, the big man himself with his freaking coffin. So there's so many characters you just can't burst. So I assume this is to try and counteract that. Clash. When two projectiles clash, the projectile with a lower clash value will now be erased. Oh, so it'll just go through. Didn't I already do that? Whatever. Jump S. This move now triggers counter hit effect. Can now be jump canceled and air dash canceled. I like how this is just like a universal change. Weird. This move now triggers a counter hit effect. Can now be jump canceled and air dash canceled. Added. Oh, they're adding Gatling rounds. Oh, awesome. Added Gatling round to jump D. Ooh. Ooh and ooh. Jump D off of Heavy Slash. How's this gonna work for Kai's dust? Oh wait, this is not a flat Kai. Okay. I was gonna say, hold on a second. But now I can go jump H into jump D, and since it stops momentum, that's gonna be really good. I like this change. More Gatling options. Thank you. Thank you. Yes, please. Block. Remove the increased block stun. Yep, we already did that. Even when return knockback is overwritten by projectile, a set amount of knockback will remain. Interesting. Projectiles will actually force you to... Interesting. That's never been in a Guilty Gear game before. It's kind of weird. Characters no longer enter blocking stance before a projectile makes contact. Ooh. You don't see this a lot in modern fighting games, actually. What is it? What is that hitbox called? The preemptive block frames. Proximity guard. The proximity guard box are huge in modern fighting games. So I'm a fan of this. Granted, there's not that many projectiles in the game, but I like being able to walk backwards. So I'm a fan of that. Add the difference between time of the opponent for entering a block stance. Yeah. Guard crush. Please do something. The knockback caused by instant block and faultless defense will now change upon when guard crush. Thank you. When an attack hits an opponent in the guard crush animation, that attack is treated as the first move in the combo. Okay, so that's probably just increased damage scaling. Thank God. All right, those are universal changes. I like what I see. A couple things I don't, but overall not that bad. Hey, I'm a big fan of Gatling increases. Whether or not that gets really obnoxious, we'll see. Depending on which character it is, I'm gonna have to like think about certain characters jump dust. For Kai, I think that's gonna be really good. For other characters, I'm not so sure. For Soul, this is probably really good too. We can probably do jump S, jump D as a jump in. I think it's gonna be really good for everybody for the most part. Soul. One major point is that we have changed how Bandit Revolver functions. Oh, interesting. While it originally could not be followed up on hit automatically. While it originally could not be followed up on hit automatically. Follow could now be performed via manual input regardless of the situation. Oh, interesting. It can now be used in more ways, such as maximizing the reward of a counter hit from normal moves such as crouching S, as well as other situations. In accordance to the changes to 6B and Bandit Revolver, the wall bounce effect of 6B in the stage corner. Really? They got rid of the wall bounce on 6P, but that's like a legacy status. The wall bounce effect of 6P in the stage has been removed. You hate to see it. Soul has access to major damage when he lands a clean hit Volcanic Viper. However, the high damage practicality of 6P Volcanic Viper in the stage core was so strong there was no need to use any other combo routes. I mean, that's true. Revive this while also adding new counter. Okay. Bandit Bringer can now be followed up on counter hit, making a more highly rewarding option, and that's scary. So 6P now floats the opponent higher while also reducing horizontal distance and flying back. Removed wall bounce effect. 6H. Soul is no longer in counter hit state after the active frames of the attack. I didn't even know that he was. Let's see. Bandit Revolver, all types. Second hit can now be performed with the kick button. Okay then. Adjust the movement speed. This is a nice little change, actually. I'm a big fan of just giving more options as a whole. Grind a Bandit Revolver, reduce startup time. That's good. Night Ray Vortex, increase base damage scaling. He's getting scaling nerfs. Face down, knockdown, expanded hurt box above. It's kind of weird. I'm sure some people have probably had things whiffed as a result of that. Okay, nothing substantial here, just increasing more options, and increasing damage scaling. So that's good. I'm a fan of that. Kai getting the buff that I was surprised he didn't get in the last one, I imagine. Kai greatly benefits from the buff to projectile special moves. That is now easier to control neutral by using Stun Edge as a poke. Who would have thought using a projectile as a poke? We had previously intentionally set relatively high recovery for projectiles to prevent making their ability to lock the opponent down too powerful. Admittedly, with the way that air blocking works in this game, and the weird air dash, I can see why you don't want that. This is why Axel's so annoying to deal with sometimes, because you block an attack and then you're full screen again. So this is why I'm shocked they didn't change IB in the slightest, but we'll see how that goes down the road. Let's see. The result in Sun Edge having limited use, which was a stressful element for playing Kai. Yep. Well, all they had to do, you can jump Stun Edge on reaction. So let's see. We reduce the overall length of reaction while maintaining the original lockdown capabilities of attack mate, usually using neutral. We also increase the chip damage on block mate with more rewarding for home to block Stun Edge in neutral. We've increased the benefits of using Dragon Install due to comparatively low damage versus an overdrive. They really want you to try using Dragon Install. They'll never understand that it's just a meme in every game. 6H is no longer in counter state after the active frames of the attack. That's really good. Makes it a better poke. If they decide to jump, you at least don't get exploded. Shock State, increased chip damage to special moves and overdrives during Shock State. Good. They sold us as that was going to be this big thing, and his chip damage really is probably one of the worst in the game. Like, Fudo Arc does a lot of chip damage, but other than that, not really. Stun Edge, all versions, reduce hit stop. Reduced hit stop. Alright. If you want. Grounded Stun Edge, increased startup. I assume that means reduced startup. Right? Did they make it slower? Increase movement speed of the hitbox, so the projectile goes faster. Oh, interesting. Stun Edge, charge attack, reduced hit stop, reduced recovery. Wow, they reduced recovery of the charge version. Increase the movement speed of the hitbox. Why would they increase the movement speed of the charge version? That's like potentially makes it worse. That's gonna change all of my timings. That's annoying. Voodoo Arc got damage scaling nerf. I could see that. Sacred Edge, all versions, increase movement speed of the hitbox. That's useful. Sacred Edge is actually hard to connect with. Sacred Edge during Dragon Install no longer reduces the number of attacks the opponent when it hits anything other than the opponent. Weird. Alright. Dragon Install, increased damage. I assume just flat out. The activation is now more powerful attack when used during Shock State. Okay. Increases chip damage as a special move and overdrives while Dragon Assault. It's like, Dragon Assault's not bad, it's just very situational. Because you have to have low life. These are good changes. This is basically what I was expecting to get anyway. So, Kai is now in the state that I would call perfectly fine. I think he's going to be a really good character after this. I already think he's a good character. Let's see. May. These balance changes increase the return of landing aerial attacks combined with the additional Gatling rounds for aerial normal moves. This greatly develops air combos. We adjusted hit effects of uncharged 6H as it was not commonly used and less rewarding than our other normal moves. Due to now being an easier to follow up. Remove the wall bounce effect. That makes sense. Yeah. Okay. Previously, the counter strategy to Mr. Dolphin Horizontal has been to beat it with fast moves such as Standing P. However, in order to prepare more counters to lunging attacks, it is now more likely to lose the 6P. Oh, thank God. Does it finally have its hitbox reduced so it doesn't hit 6Ps? We'll see. Let's see. Sweep. Create less distance from the opponent on hit in the stage corner. Sure. 6P, now floats the opponent higher, will also reduce the horizontal distance when they are flying back. Remove wall bounce effect. 6H sends opponent flying up. Reduce the amount of risk level decrease. Reduce the amount of combo blowback scaling. Am I ready? Jump S. May is no longer in a counter hit state after the first active frame. Yeah, alright. Mr. Dolphin Horizontal. Increased base damage scaling, so less damage. They seem to be reducing damage across the board for the most part, which is fine. Pretty much on all the random counter hit starters. Mr. Dolphin, reduce the hitbox below. Oh, been wanting this for so long. You can finally 6P here, Dolphin. Thank God. And then they just buff that. Increase distance for which the attack. Okay. That's not bad. With the universal changes, she probably just got... I mean, she got nerfed. Definitely. This reduced hitbox is such a huge nerf. Depending on which character and matchup you're talking about. Some characters do have the ability to contest Dolphin easily, but that's just really good. And with the changes she got from the last patch as well, 6P was already more viable against their neutral. Now it's even more viable. But she still has some really good buttons, so it's not going to be that big of a problem. She'll be fine. Axel. I don't know that much about Axel, even though I've faced a lot of Axels lately. Let's see. Oh god, I didn't even consider the changes he got. That's going to be annoying. Oh god. He's gonna get so much damage. Counter hit jump off. Ugh. Oh god, Axel's gonna be so busted, actually, now that I think about it. If jumping S's now just counter hit across the board, and jump H's counter hit across the board, oh, God, you're gonna get counter hit so much just trying to get in. Kill me now. Dash, reduce the upper hurt box right after the animation starts. Alright. Fix the bug. Crouching K, reduce startup. That's really good for him. That destroys one annoying thing that I would do against Axel, so rip. Axel's gonna be more annoying now. His defense is now better. Crouching S, increase base damage, killing 6B, move the opponent float higher. Jump S, increase startup. Oh, so when they're saying increase startup, do they mean that they're decreasing it or increasing it? Why would they increase the I assume this is slower now. But that would also mean that Kai's fireballs are slower. I may be reading this wrong. Because technically you would want to decrease startup to improve it. So I'm assuming... I want to assume they're making it faster. I have no idea. Maybe not. I don't know. We'll see. Reduce the active frames? Thank you, please. Expanded hurt box in front? Oh, okay, good. They understood this will be broken otherwise, so that's good. Jump H, reduce hitbox in front and behind, so you can actually like, walk under it. That's good. Increase knockback. Oh, that's a weird change. Jump D, reduce active frames, reduce hitbox and hurtbox. So they're just preparing for all the changes they made. Sickle Flash, Axel's now in counter state until the animation ends. Thank you. Increase clash level. That'll come up. Rainwater, Axel's no longer counter state after the first act. Damn. Nothing matters. Let's see. Sickle Storm, projectiles only reduce whenever it hits. Okay. Cool. Okay. Yeah, Chip's gonna be, or not Chip. Axel's gonna be strong no matter what. The universal changes just the game systems in general benefit Axel probably more than any other character. His archetype is so benefited in this game, so I think he's gonna be just fine. Just the buff to his crouching K is already gonna be such a game changer from a defensive standpoint, because people could 6P his 5K, so which is what I would be doing to him all the time. Chip Zenith. Alpha Blade is now easier to use in combos and strings. Yeah, that's good. I was kind of ashamed you couldn't combo into it, really. However, the changes to crouching H, he now has more options to lead into combos mid-screen. Due to these changes and the ability to follow up, but after bounding off the stage corner, he has access to greater reward. His mix-up, however, has somewhat increased startup as it was overly influenced by individual reaction times and play. What a way to phrase that. There were bad players who couldn't react to it, and they were sad, so we're fixing. We gotta cater to the majority, I suppose. We'll see what that means as we go through. Crouching H, decrease horizontal distance from the opponent and send flying back. This will make his combos a lot more consistent, so that's fine. Jumping H, Chip is no longer in a counter state after the first active frames. Okay. Alpha Blade Diagonal, increase startup. Alpha Blade is now easier to use in combos. Increase startup. This has to mean decrease startup. So, adjusted the movement speed and blowback. Adjust the movement speed and blowback from the opponent. Okay. But this is reduced startup. I'm so confused. I'm so confused. Well, she says his mix-up, however, is somewhat increased startup. So, okay, so the grounded Alpha Blade is slower, and the aerial version is faster. Okay, I think that's how we're reading this correctly. Okay, so increased startup does mean increased startup. Okay, I think we're getting it now. They're doing it correctly. Oh yeah, Shuriken, he has that move. I didn't even know he wasn't in a counter state during the long run. Alright, it's pretty simple changes. I would say most of these are nerfs, but the combo potential could make it better for him in the long run. We'll see. I'm interested to see what they're going to do with Potemkin. I see a lot of changes in here. And I saw something to Garuda. In accordance with the general direction of making anti-airs easier to combo off of, his 6P can now be special. Oh god, no. Which is a major buff form. You're damn right. It's a major buff form. Oh my god. By canceling into Heat Knuckle, he can continue his offense both on hit and block. Jesus. Basically, you're not going to be able to jump in against Potemkin. But I think Potemkin just went up a whole tier, unless these nerfs that he gets make him significantly worse. Standing Fire Slash now connects into Slide Hit on a non-counter hit aerial hit. Oh my god. On the other hand, due to the changes Faultless Sense, Garuda Impact has lost. Oh no, Garuda Impact is slightly worse, and you have to spend meter and oh god. All right. Far Standing S increased rolling time. Standing H reduced the hurt box in front, so it's a better poke. 6P, special cancelable, 6K. Decrease the amount of wrist level reduction, reduce the amount of combo blowback adjustment increases. You get 6H, reduce the hurt box, better poke. Jump D can now be special canceled when Potemkin lands. Can now be special canceled. I assume this is just for like quick follow-ups and stuff. Slide Head. Potemkin no longer counter state after the active frames ends. The ground cracks no longer disappear during the active frames. FDB now triggers the counter hit effect. Now reflects projectiles while holding down the S button. Oh, so just holding it. Really? It just reflects them the whole time he's holding down S? That's kind of fucked up. That's Potemkin on easy mode. You can just hold it down now. There's no timing required at all. That's fine, I guess. Garuda Impact increased base damage scaling. Yeah, they said that. So it does less damage, and now it's affected by Faultless. Heavenly Potemkin Buster. Increased distance from which the attack connects. It was easy to kind of hit before. Now, I don't want to buff it too much because you should be able to still hit it out of the air, I hope. Let's see. Reduce the hitbox from behind. I think Potemkin's going to be absolutely terrified. Because here's the thing. Garuda Impact was busted and obnoxious and so ridiculous, and they still didn't change how ridiculous it is. It's just he gets pushed out very slightly. Unless this Faultless change is huge, he gets pushed out very slightly. And he has Kara Command Grab, so it doesn't matter that he's getting pushed out. And even without Garuda Impact, he still has a plus on block close slash as a grappler. Potemkin is easily winning this patch the most so far, so we'll see. Faust. Oh my god, it's a lot of changes. It's a lot of changes. It's a lot of changes. Let's see. Love is now different properties when used while Faust is in an Afro state. Ooh, interesting. The properties are stronger as the explosion will only hit the opponent, making it beneficial for Faust to either take the Afro item himself for the opponent to take it, or when it appears. Ooh, I like that. Give some more risk reward for his own things, because he had a lot of items that could be used against him. So that's cool. Change to Donut and Banana, make it more likely to receive a beneficial item when repeatedly using. What could this be? Oh god. RNG manipulation? I don't like it. Crouching S has been greatly buffed as a preemptive anti-air, making his anti-air capabilities greatly improved when combined with the ability to follow up on 6P. Alright then. Because there are all balance changes to damage distribution, the damage caused by Snip 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 is less impacted by the opponent's character and current health. Dash. Reduce the upper hurt box directly after the animation starts, so he can dash under stuff, maybe. Standing P. Reduce startup. That's really good for him. 6P. Decrease horizontal distance. Same thing as before. Expanded the hitbox too. So his 6P is now a godlike anti-air. His Crouching S also probably a ridiculous anti-air. Faust already had some of the best anti-airs in the game, and now they're definitively the best. Mix, mix, mix. Faust is no longer a counter state. That's good for him. Increased base damage scaling. Didn't it already scale really heavily? Yeah, whatever. Donut. Lowered chance of Donut appearing when there is already a Donut on screen. Yeah, that makes sense. Lower the chance of a Banana appearing when there's already a Banana on screen. Okay. When throwing an item, there is now a set chance that the Banana will become a Banana Peel. Okay. So he might just throw Banana Peels instead. Okay. Decrease the horizontal distance the opponent is sent flying back. Reduce recovery. The opponent will no longer enter Afro State due to an item effect during this move. Huh? Decrease the horizontal distance the opponent is sent flying back. So he gets Oki after it. Reduced recovery on whiff? Or after the fact. I assume on hit. So he just gets better Oki. The opponent will no longer enter Afro State due to an item effect during this move. So if you got hit during the animation? Or after it hits? Like if you get hit with a bomb afterwards? Is what it might be saying? I'm not sure. The properties now change when activated in Afro State. Faust now remains in counter state until the end of the animation. Oof. It recovers fairly fast though, so that's probably fine. Afro extended the time until it disappears and touches the ground. No longer enters Afro State during certain animations. They decreased the recovery? What could this be? Fuck. It already recovered fast. Faust is significantly better. He's not better than Potemkin, but he's going to be so much stronger now. His item RNG is now massively in his favor as well. Being able to throw just banana peels is already like a boost in general. I'd say Faust is... He's winning. He's winning well. Milieu Rage. Oh my god, Jesus Christ. Look at all these changes. I think they're all minor stuff. Her special moves have been buffed overall due to Miraz. I don't know how to say it, and Turbofall becoming special cancelable. Many characters gain access to forward dash cancels for aerial attacks, however, only Millia has gained access to aerial backdash cancels, which mainly strengthen her mix-up options. Previously, her standing far slash would beat most characters' 6Ps, however, this has been more difficult due to buffs to the situations after it hits. The hurt box has been reduced to match this change. Okay. 6K can now be special. Oh, I was waiting for it to happen. Well, Millia's winning, I can tell you that. Standing far slash. Reduce the lower hurt box and hitbox. Alright. Crouching P, decrease. Or crouching P is a decreased start. Not her 5P. Okay. Still to her benefit, it's probably 5 frames now. 6P, decrease the horizontal distance. The opponent is sent flying back while making them float higher. Standard change. 6K can now be special cancelled and super cancelled. The opponent is now forced into a crouching state. On grounding hit, no longer expands Milia's push box, preventing the opponent from being pushed away during the animation. Increased recovery. Increased recovery. I would assume that implies it's now negative, but if she can special cancel it, yeah, that's definitely above. 6H. It's now more in line with what it used to be. Let's see. 6H, reduced startup with the second hit. Oh, so you can't backdash between it? That sucks. That's a buff. That's a buff. Jump K. Yeah, all our buttons can now be aired back. Just better mobility in general. Turbo Fall can now be cancelled mid-animation with some special moves. Really? Why is she no longer in a counter hit state during the animation? That's a movement skill. She should absolutely be in counter hit state. Anyways, whatever. 10 on top S version, reduce the startup so it's faster. God, she's just getting buffed all over the place. Alright, save your fixed bug. Okay. Can now be cancelled mid-animation with some special moves. Oh my god. Just the movement speed. What do you mean it can be cancelled mid-animation? Oh. God. And a knockback to Lush Shaker. Expanded Lord. Well. Milia's buffed to shit. Okay, she might be taking second or even first place with Potemkin. God damn. Well, I really enjoyed facing Millia. I don't know if I'll enjoy facing her now. I probably will. The mix-ups are only going to increase. being able to cancel mid-animation crap is what scares me a little bit. Now, granted, her mid... She doesn't have a lot of moves she could really cancel into and be safe afterwards, but it still worries me. Anyways, Million's definitely winning out. Zato 1, the amount of Eddie gauge expended for command inputs while Eddie's summon has been decreased. Although Zato will perform motions on activation as well, this opens up new potential setups for Eddie. The range of Invite Hell has been improved. It's already pretty long range. Let's see, 6k can now be special canceled to distinguish it from its dust attack. Whoosh. Its startup is now no longer making it easier to block what Zato is. Oh, its startup is longer, making it easier to block, but Zato faces less risk using it solo and cannot follow up first. So they're basically making overhead slower, but more threatening. That seems to be the MO so far. Dash, reduce the upper hurt box. This must be some hurt box shenanigans going on with some people's dashes. I've seen this in a lot of characters. Standing P is faster. Wow. That's all right. Five frames. What was it before? 6? 6P is probably just better now. Get a free Invite Hell every time. 6k. Again, we already went over. It says a decreased startup, but up here it says its startup is longer to make it easier to block, but this says decreased startup. So I assume that's a misprint. I think there's a lot of misprints here. Reduce the amount of gauge spent when controlling Eddie. Yeah. Okay. These are good changes for his mix-up options and pressure. You didn't really see 6k that often. I could block it on reaction already, so more often than not. So this is just going to make it easier to block on my part. But now that he can cancel into it and stuff, he's going to be able to keep pressure going while doing overheads and lows. So that'll be good for him. Solid changes. Jesus, what? I'll be interested to see what they do to Ramlethal. Let's see. Due to the reduction of knockback of standing /, it is easier to connect into Daro on cancel. The increased knockback of standing H makes the situation after hit similar to how it was previously after landing standing S, standing H. The properties of Jump H and Jump D have been adjusted to the large benefit gained from additional Gatling rounds. Yeah, that's something I'm not factoring into my head right now, because that's going to change a bunch of jump-in options. Due to being an overhead, it was difficult to buff Sildo Detro, as it was useful in limited situations. Making it a mid, it can now be used more freely in neutral and in strings. What is Sildo Ditro? Is that the big long-range move with both swords? I don't have her move names memorized. I need to see the notation. When dash canceling name, the initial dash startup can now be special canceled, opening up potential strings. Oh, is still that's just her overhead. You rarely see her overhead. So now it's just a mid? I wonder if it's just plus. Weird. Weird changes. I guess they're just making her a pressure character with few mix-ups. That's the route they're going. I suppose that makes sense. Not that I ever really got mixed up by that move, but I guess I see what they're doing. Let's see. So, let's see. Far slash. Reduce knockback. Setting H. Increase knockback. 6p. She already got combos off of 6p, so I imagine it's going to be pretty similar. Unless they made 6p's all jump cancelable. Jump H. Increase the startup. Increase knockback. Jump D. Increase knockback. Bojonetto. Fix the location on the ground where they would all be set after touching the stage corner. Oh, thank God. If she takes damage, the sword doesn't explode. That's good. Daro's increased damage scaling. That makes sense if it's easier to land. Change from an over to a mid attack. Reduce base damage scaling. Expand the lower and behind hitbox. This is such a weird change. I mean, I get it, but I wonder if they changed... Oh, okay, there's 2 changes to it. Okay, so this is just all versions, and this is the grounded one. Adjusted the movement speed and blowback, reduce recovery. The opponent is now forced to a crouching state on ground and hit. Added wall bounce effect. Okay, so it's just a combo tool now, and a pressure reset. I imagine it's plus on block. So that makes sense, I guess. Increased damage scaling. Could no longer be dash canceled on whiff. Roman cancel is activated while dash canceling this move. It will now be a blue Roman cancel. It can now be special canceled only immediately after dash canceling. Interesting. First hit, increase stack level, reduce startup, reduce recovery, adjusted. Oh, it's less punishable. Sped up the timing when the follow-up is buffed. Second hit, added dash cancel, increased attack level, reduce startup. Alrighty then. These changes are really, they don't change her that much, to be honest with you. She's pretty similar, to be honest. I think it's the universal changes that are going to change her more often than not. So overall, I'd say she's probably buffed and nerfed to a certain extent. But I think she's going to be relatively similar. Is Leo going to get any changes this time? He is. The timing you can cancel into guard points follow-up moves has been sped up due to the long overall recovery of standing far slash and standing H. 6H can now be comboed into from crouching S, counter hit, and other moves. Ooh. Let's see. Far slash, sped up the timing when it can be followed up in the Roman cancel. Oh, command hole. Okay. Okay, that's fine, I guess. 6P, standard changes. 6H now floats the opponent on grounded hit. So new combo routes, I suppose. Decrease the horizontal distance between the opponents flying back. So easier to get combos off of it. Command normal 4. Holding standing. Okay. Increase movement speed so you can walk forward faster while holding guard. And reduce recovery. Okay. Jump S. Leo is no longer in a current state. Increase startup, increase base damage combo. Okay. Okay, so you got a lot of damage scaling stuff going on. P during back turn no longer can be jump canceled. It's kind of weird. So they gave him a dash cancel on his K, and then they took away the jump cancel. I don't know. They don't know what the hell they're doing. They're just like, hey, fuck it. Alright. This is mostly just damage scaling. Overall, I'd say this is probably more of a nerf than anything else. He lost some stuff, so he's still really good, though, so nothing game-breaking here. Nagayuki. Let's see. Shizuru Yuki has been greatly changed from its former function, and the downward swing can now be manually activated by a heavy slash button input. With buffs to the startup time, it's now easier to use an anti-air punish. That's his DP, right? He can now manually do the second follow-up. That's really good. Zarami Yuki is now a powerful option in neutral and strings in mid-range. I really need to learn the name of moves. I wish it showed the annotation. Grounded though, yes. His bugged throw is gone. Aerial throw, adjusted descent timing, 6P, universal change. Blood Rage, the hitbox can no longer clash or be reflected. Okay. Zaramuki, reduce startup, increase movement speed of the hitbox. Unified the size of the clash range. Kanor Yuki, increased base damage scaling. Yuki now follow up with the second hit by pressing heavy slash. Adjusted blowback in accordance with change to its functions. Reduce startup. The second hit now triggers a counter effect. Triggers a counter effect. God, that sounds terrifying. That sounds terrifying. Well, now Yuki got buffed, I guess. That's... If you can only do one, that's terrifying. Yeah, that's scary. Be afraid. Giovanna. She can now quickly perform normals after her dash. Pretty sure she could already do that. Pretty sure this is something she could already do. Crouching S would sometimes whiff, oddly, depending on the opponent's character after a counter hit, so we improved its range. Sol Nascante works better against aerial attacks, while now being more likely to lose to grounded attacks. Solidifying its role as an anti-air. That's good, I guess. It was really strong against everything, so I get why they would do that. Dash, sped up the timing when it could be canceled into other actions. Could it... Was there a time it couldn't cancel into moves? Am I missing something here? So I guess instead of being able to cancel it on frame 2, you can cancel it on frame 1. That's fine. Standing K, adjusted blowback. I'm a fan of this. I was not a huge fan of the whole 5K thing that she was doing for air combos, so I'm assuming this is a nerf to that. Standing close slash, increased knockback. Oof, that's a bit of a nerf to her. She still got the plus frames, but now she's further away. Combine that with the faultless changes, and she might have even a harder time. Standing slash, far slash, excuse me. Decrease the lower hitbox and hurtbox. Alright then. Crouching S, expand the upper hitbox. The second hit now triggers a counter effect. Oh, okay. When they say that, they're just meaning the second hit also is a counter hit. Okay, I get you. I get you. 6P now floats the enemy higher. Subatara, damage scaling. So she's gonna do less damage. Move the hitbox, the initial part upwards. Okay, yep. Now floats the enemy when any hit other than the final one hits a grounded opponent. I don't know what move this is. I don't know what move this is. Anji. Are they going to make Anji viable? Let's find out. It's not a lot of changes. We'll see. We have revised the properties of Shitsu so that it can be used outside of Okuzeme. It can now be canceled into from normals and used at mid-range more easily. His standard throw has also been changed in accordance with Shitsu, making it easier to carry the opponent into the stage corner. By making the start of a Fujin faster, it can now be linked into from far, standing S, and crouching S. Oh, he actually just can combo into Fujin now. No more counter hit necessary. That is a large buff. Ko is easier to use in combos and also stronger as an anti-air. As the opponent floats less, jump attacks after Ko can connect more easily. Good, because that was actually very finicky. As the second hit now causes guard crush, you can also continue your offense now when the opponent blocks it. Really? That's scary. That's scary. We have addressed the problem with 6P would struggle to connect due to being shorter horizontally than other characters. Dash, universal, hurtbox change, grounded throw, increase horizontal blowback. So it carries them further away. His throw is already like one of the best in the game. Standing slash, far slash, decrease lower hitbox and hurtbox. Crouching P, reduce startup, so it's probably 5 frames now. 6P, increase hitbox, really good. 6H, Anji's no longer in a countered state after the active frames end. That's fine. Shitsu, reduce startup, reduce recovery, reduce hit stop on the first hit. Very good. That's really good. I doubt it's going to have the startup that it did in the initial trailer, but I imagine it can't get slower. So Fujin, reduce startup, increase base damage scaling. Okay, so it does more damage scaling, but it's actually usable. Let's see. No longer counter state, add a guard crush. no longer can clash. That's good that it can't clash. Okay, these are simple changes, but these are the changes that he probably should have launched. Again, we're getting closer and closer to trailer Anji. In fact, more often than not, we're moving most of the characters more towards where they were on the trailer. I was shocked that Kai didn't get a jump cancel from his 2H. Ino, look at these tiny changes. She's already in really good place now. Let's see. Far Slash now works better as a preemptive poke. The hitbox is expanded with little change to the hurtbox, so a disjoint. Although it doesn't lead to major direct reward, it works well as a poke against opponents who are watching for a hover dash. Antidepressant scale has been changed to be more useful in neutral while remaining strong Okizeme. Okay. This is really simple. So, increase startup, reduce recovery, increase movement speed of the hitbox. The projectile travels faster? Isn't that going to screw up her timing? Sped up the time with a number of... Okay. Okay, they thought of that. And it travels faster up and down. But it's slower. So, yeah, okay. That's fine. Gold Lewis Dickinson. Well, there's already changes to Guard Crush, so he's already going to get some sort of nerfs. Just from that alone. Let's see. Using Aerial Behemoth Typhoon from an air dash allows him to move an extremely long distance, which combined with the changes to his forward dash hurtbox significantly improves his ability to approach from a distance. As Skyfish was previously safe to use at a lower security level, it is now possible to cancel the animation with additional input to address this issue. Really? The reduction of its startup also makes it powerful in both neutral and combos. So, crouching P is now faster. His defense will be significantly better just as a result of that. 6P, universal change. Aerial Behemoth Typhoon. The trajectory now changes when activating above a set movement speed. When activating Behemoth Typhoon, this one, the counter hit state now ends when the active frames do. Same. Okay. Skyfish reduce startup when activating at security level 2 can now cancel the action by pressing S button when activating at security level above 2. That's useful that you can cancel it. Okay, pretty mild changes. He's probably going to get impacted the most by the Guard Crush changes, but we don't know how significant they are. How much pushback is there really going to be on the Guard Crush? Guard Crushes are still like, his Guard Crushes aren't as pluses like Garuda, but they can be. So, we'll see how it goes. Oh my god, Jesus. It's a lot of changes for a character that just came out. It is now easier for a standing H to connect after standing / hits. Changed inputs regarding her servants has made it easier to avoid accidentally performing other attacks while also improving ease of execution. She can now perform overdrives even while lifting a servant. I see you. I see what you're doing. This is so that you could use like the shield and then immediately go into an overdrive. This also allows her to not be put into situations where if she canceled into servant, she could be stuck in a situation where, like I know it's Kai for instance, I could use Ride the Lightning after like 2D, a block 2D, and it would punish every single thing she could do. Same was true for her little kick special, whatever it's called. If I ever blocked that, I could just use Ride the Lightning and it would beat every single option she could do. If she can now cancel into overdrive, she might be able to contest that by lifting a servant and doing overdrive. I'm not sure. But I think this is mostly to make it so that she can use a deflect and then do Elysian Driver. Let's see. Standing H, adjust the movement speed so it probably moves across the screen faster. Crouching S, decrease base damage scaling 6p. Universal changes. Servants. The servant's push box now disappears and the servants vanish, preventing the opponent from being pushed away. Okay. Fixed a bug where the servants would behave unnaturally. When Jacko activates Roman Cancel, lifting servant, it no longer causes a purple Roman Cancel. I have not faced enough Jackos to know that. Throw servant can now be activated by the diagonal input instead of only forward. Useful. Aerial throw servant can now be activated with diagonals. Release servant no longer activates when an upward direction is being inputted. Okay. Recover servant no longer activates when... Okay, these are all just like quality of life changes to make inputting easier. Defend command, increase clash level, fix the bug with the invincibility state during the animation would not be processed properly. Countdown no longer activates when an upwards direction is being input. Most of our stuff's just quality of life. People are getting a lot of missed inputs, it would seem. Servant shoot expanded the upper hurt box and hitbox can now be canceled into an overdrive. Aha. I see you there. I still think Rad of Lightning would probably win, but you know, we'll see. Forever Elysian Driver can now be activated on Lifting Servant. Adjusted movement speed. Cheer on. Okay. Alright then. Overall, pretty good changes. Kind of. I'm terrified of some of these. I think Potemkin is ridiculous. I think Millia is... Someone clearly plays Millia and was like, just fucking give her everything. Just give her everything. It's fine. Biggest winners are probably Potemkin and Millia. Kai obviously is better, but his changes are mild in comparison. Universal changes are going to benefit... Who would they benefit the most? I think Kai's actually going to be benefited quite a bit in terms of just getting raw jump-ins, but... who has a really useful jump D? If they decrease the startup on... Or the recovery on his Anji's jump D, that would be better. Anji might be viable now. I still don't think he's going to be that amazing, but I think he's probably usable now. Soul's relatively the same. Kai's better. Mei is nerfed, I would say. More nerfed than buffed. Axel is buffed. Chip is middle of the road. I think Potemkin obviously wins. Faust is significantly better. Millia is significantly better. Zato changed, buffed, and nerfed in a certain respect. It depends on how his 6K goes. You don't really use it that much anyway. Now it might actually have more of a use. Ramlethal is probably the most weird one to me. I feel like she's just kind of stayed relatively the same. The universal changes would change her the most. Same with Leo. Didn't really get changed that much. Nagayuki seems significantly better. Giovanna seems relatively the same. Seems more nerfed than anything. Anji's buffed. Ino's about the same. And everyone else seems about the same. Biggest winners, I think, are very obvious. Honestly, I think the character... Yeah, Potemkin and Millia, man. Potemkin, Millia, and then Faust would be the top three, I think, in my opinion. But we'll have to see how the universals change out. Overall, not a bad patch. I'm not the biggest fan. I like seeing more Gatling routes. That's the thing I'm most happy about. I like seeing more jump cancels. I was expecting more jump cancels from grounded normals too, but the aerial normal stuff is good. It'll make pressure a little bit more diversified. Right now, pressure's pretty standard for every character. But these changes are pretty good. I'm excited to see how it feels in action. Until then.